Welcome to yet another edition of the High School Football Roundup podcast for Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. A very special edition of the High School Football Roundup podcast. I'm your host, Walter Johnson. And remember to follow the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter at SWGA Network. And also, you can click the link below the description on the Twitter page to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Remember to click subscribe under each broadcast and the red button to subscribe under each broadcast, each high school football roundup podcast. And then also look at some other other content, including an interview with State Representatives Gerald Green and Ed Reinders and about the upcoming legislative session for 2018. But again, remember to follow the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter at SWGA Network, and also listen live on YouTube, and also watch some videos on the Southwest Georgia Network YouTube channel as well. But I'm not here tonight to talk about politics. Of course, I'm talking about high school football. State playoffs getting underway this weekend on Friday, November 10th. And then on this edition of the High School Football Roundup podcast, and going to go for all the teams in the Southwest Georgia Network coverage area that have advanced to the playoffs from Class 7A to Single A, and start at the very top in Class 7A, where the Lowndes Vikings, who finished the regular season undefeated at 10-0 on the season, and had the very sensational Michael Barrett at quarterback, and then multiple Power 5 conference schools have been looking at them, getting them to play on somewhere, playing at their school on Saturday afternoons next year, Saturday afternoons and evenings. And the Lowndes Vikings open the Class 7A playoffs at home against Campbell out of Smyrna, Georgia, in southern Cobb County, in Mableton, Georgia. And so it'll be Lowndes playing host to Campbell, and number two seeded Tift County, the Tift County Blue Devils, with another solid quarterback in Griffin Collier, will be at home as well. And the Blue Devils will play host to Noonan, the Noonan Cougars out of Noonan, Georgia, about an hour or so southwest of Atlanta in Coweta County. And the winner of the Lowndes-Campbell game will face the winner of the Etowah-McEachern game. And on the other hand, the winner of the Noonan-Tift County game will face the winner of the Roswell-Hillgrove game. And the only other Region 1 and the third and final Region 1 7A team to advance to the playoffs. In Class 7A, the Colquitt County Packers and head coach Rush Probst making the trip to Cobb County. It's Mableton, Georgia, to face Pebblebrook. And Pebblebrook is the number 2 seed of Region 2 7A. And I think Pebblebrook's in Mableton, Georgia. And so I think in Colquitt County, and lost back-to-back games. Lost heartbreaker in the closing seconds at home to Tift County, 38-35, and then took Lowndes to double overtime just 2 weeks ago on October 27th before losing 51-45 in overtime. And they'll head to Mableton, Georgia, to face Pebblebrook. And seeing FYI, and Hillgrove is out of Powder Springs, Georgia. And then I think Cobb County has multiple schools spread out among at least 3 regions. Metro Atlanta is up in I think all but about 4 of the schools in Class 7A are from the Atlanta area, and very few of them are south of Atlanta. I think a couple of them are southwest of Atlanta proper, and Noonan and East Coweta, which didn't make the playoffs, and Camden County along the Georgia coast found itself on the outside looking in. And Camden County finished the 2017 season at 3-6 overall and winless in 3 GHSA Region 1-7A contests at 0-3. And quickly to recap, in the Class 7A playoffs and the Region 1 teams involved, Campbell's at Lowndes 10-0, Noonan at Tift County, and Colquitt County at Pebblebrook. And moving on to Class 6A, and the Lee County Trojans. And the Region 1 6A champions will be at home against Richmond Hill. And Lee County won just its 3rd region championship ever last week, as the Trojans from Leesburg outlasted the Trojans from Coffee High School out of Douglas, Georgia. Final score 23-7 Lee County over Coffee. And like I mentioned, it's only Lee County's 3rd region championship in football ever. And Lee County won region titles in 2005, 2013, and now in 2017. And according to the Georgia High School Football Daily Newsletter, and linebacker Otis Reese, who's being looked at by a lot of schools, including Michigan, had 14 tackles in the win over Coffee last week. And the now 9-1 overall Trojans from Leesburg will open against Richmond Hill, the number 4 seed out of Region 2-6A. But Richmond Hill's not the typical 4 seed. And Richmond Hill finished the regular season at 7-2 overall, but the Wildcats out of Richmond Hill, Georgia, split all 4 of their region contests, and rolled past Bradwell Institute 56-28. Struggled against Glen Academy in a 12-7 win, and then lost their final 2 games of the season. Lost 34-56 at home to Brunswick, and then fell at home to Effingham County, 40-26. And it was that second loss to Effingham County that dropped Richmond Hill into the number 4 position in Class 2 6A, right along the Georgia coast. And it should be a really good matchup this Friday night at Trojan Field in Leesburg, Lee County, hosting Richmond Hill. And looking at the other matchups in Class 6A involving Region 1 teams, and Coffee at the Coffee Trojans will be the number 2 seed after the loss to Lee County last week, playing host to Effingham County, who will be the 3 seed out of Region 2, and the number 3 seed out of Region 1-6A, north side of Warner Robins. We head down to Brunswick, Georgia, to take on the Brunswick Pirates. And north side of Warner Robins sat out last week while weighing the outcome of the other games in Region 1-6A, both games. And Lee County and won the region title, as I mentioned, over Coffee 23-7. And while Valdosta, more on them in a moment, crushed Houston County 51-20 to gain the fourth and final playoff berth. And it'll be north side of Warner Robins on the road against Brunswick. See, and that game will be played on Saturday night, which is Veterans Day. And then the defending state champion Valdosta Wildcats, who finished the regular season at 4-6 overall and 2-2 in Region 1 6A. And one of their two region wins came against Lee County. And the loss to Valdosta was is Lee County's only loss so far. Anyway, the defending Class A state champion Wildcats will also hit the Brunswick to face the Red Terrors of Glen Academy. Glen Academy coming in as the number 1 seed at the Region 2 6A. Quick recap in the Region 1 6A teams in the state playoffs. Richmond Hill at Lee County. Effingham at Coffee. North side of Warner Robins at Brunswick. And Valdosta is at Glen Academy. And moving on to Class 5A. Moving down the classification total poll and within the Georgia, or the classification ladder, if you will, within GHSA Region 1 6A. I mean, within the Georgia High School Association, I should say. And the number 1 seeded Warner Robins Demons, who finished the regular season undefeated at 10-0 overall, will play host to the South Effingham Mustangs. And the interesting thing about South Effingham is that the Mustangs advanced to the playoffs despite finishing the 2017 regular season with just 1 win against a whopping 9 losses. And just 1 win against 9 losses for South Effingham. And South Effingham finished the regular season 1-9, and he lost the first 9 games of the season, but their 1 win came when it counted the most, as they knocked off a 2-win Statesboro team 28-17 back on October 27th. So as a result, South Effingham at 1-3 in GHSA Region 2 5A and 1-9 overall advances to the playoffs, while Statesboro's season ended winless in Region 2 5A play at 0-4, and as well as at 2-7 overall. And thinking I believe South Effingham will face his toughest opponent yet in Warner Robins. And they had the Fromm twins, Dylan and Tyler. Let's see, one of the twins is a quarterback. I think the other is like a running back or wide receiver. And in any case, South Effingham will have its work cut out for it. The Mustangs will have the work cut out for them against this potent Warner Robins team. And the number 2 seed out of Region 1 5A will be the Bainbridge Bearcats, led by running back Damian Pierce, who's been committed to Florida pretty much since the early part of this season. And the Bearcats will be at home against New Hampstead, a relatively new school out of Savannah. And the winner of the New Hampstead-Bainbridge game will face the Dutchtown Stars Mill winner. Dutchtowns in Hampton, Georgia, Stars Mill in Tyrone, Georgia, Fayette County. And quick FYI, and the winner of the Warner Robins South Effingham game will face another game, playing a team pitting a team from Henry County and Eagles Landing, and a team from Fayette County and Whitewater. And also, number 3 seed Harris County out of Hamilton, Georgia, just north of Columbus, will make the long trip down to Waycross, Georgia, to face Ware County, with the winner facing the McIntosh, with the winner facing your McIntosh or Stockbridge. And finally, you got the Battle of the Yellow Jackets, the number 4 seed from the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets, the number 4 seed from Region 1 4A, make it Region 1 5A, will travel to Jessup, Georgia, spelled Jesup, to take on the Wayne County Yellow Jackets. And the winner of that game will face the winner of the Griffin-Jones County game to be played in Gray, Georgia. And going back to 6A, again, the winner of the Richmond Hill Lee County game will face the Lovejoy Grovetown winner. And the winner of Effingham Coffee will face the winner of Drew and Evans. Northside Warner Robins Brunswick winner will face the winner at the Lakeside Evans Tucker game. And finally, the winner of the Valdosta Glen Academy game will face the winner of the Heritage Conyers and Stevenson game. And now we can move on to Class 4A. And the America Sumter Panthers won the Region 1 4A title. And it's the first region championship ever for America Sumter, or at least since the two schools merged back in 2004. And America Sumter High School in Americus, Georgia was created as a result of the merger between Americus High School and then the which served the Americus city limits, and Sumter County High School, which covered the rest of Sumter County, which especially included the small towns of Andersonville, Cobb, DeSoto, Leslie, and Plains. In any case, America Sumter will be at home against Howard out of Macon, and the winner of that game will face the winner of the North Clayton-Thompson game to be played in Thompson, Georgia, and also west of Augusta in the eastern part of the state. And the Cairo Syrup Makers will be the number 2 seed in Region 1 4A and will host Spalding out of Griffin, Georgia, about a couple hours north of Albany, some 40 miles south of Atlanta. And the winner of the Spalding Cairo contest will face the winner of the Salem-Burke County game in Waynesboro, Georgia, just south of Augusta. And looking quickly at the other teams out of 1 4A, and number 3 seeded, so number 3 seed north side of Columbus will travel to just west of Dublin, Georgia, in Lawrence County to face West Lawrence. West Lawrence comes in as the number 2 seed out of Region 2 4A in Middle Georgia. And finally, number 4 seeded Carver of Columbus will head east into Forsyth, Georgia to face Mary Persons. And Mary Persons wound up winning the Region 2 4A title. And anyone that's listening for the first time, or anyone that is new to following high school football here in Georgia, may recall that Mary Persons gave Lee County all they could handle at the Corky Kell Kickoff Classic on Thursday, August 17th. That was before they lost to the Trojans from Leesburg, 21-17. Again, that was way back on Thursday, August 17th, the beginning of this season. And the winner of the Carver Columbus Mary Persons game will face the winner of the Baldwin East Side game to be played in Covington, Georgia, this Friday. So, quick review of Class 4A. Howard at America Sumter, Spalding at Cairo, North Side Columbus at west side of North Side of Columbus at West Lawrence, and Carver Columbus at Mary Persons again. Howard, America Sumter, Spalding, Cairo, North Side of Columbus and West Lawrence, and Carver Columbus, Mary Persons. And a quick review of the 5A Region 1 5A teams in the state playoffs. South Effingham at Warner Robins, New Hampstead at Bainbridge, Harris County at Ware County, and Thomas County Central at Wayne County. And Dropping down to AAA. And the Crystal County Cougars from Cordele are at home against the Appleton County Pirates out of Baxley, Georgia. And Crystal County finished the regular season at 8-1 overall, with their game against Rutland out of Macon being canceled due to Hurricane Irma. And which by the time it came into Georgia, it turned into a tropical storm. And anyway, Crystal County will be at home against the Appleton County Pirates out of Baxley, Georgia. And Crystal County finished Region 1 AAA action undefeated at 4-0. And they'll face the Appleton County Pirates out of Baxley, Georgia. And the winner of the Appleton County Crystal County game will face the winner of the Pike County Southeast Bullock game to be played in the tiny town of Portal, Georgia, just southeast of Statesboro. Hence the name Southeast Bullock High School. And the number 2 seed will be the Region 1 AAA will be the Cook High School Hornets. The Cook Hornets out of Adel, Georgia. And they'll face the Battle Creek Warriors of Tatnall County in Reedsville, Georgia. And Cook is the number 2 seed out of Region 1 AAA, Tatnall County, the 3 seed out of Region 2 AAA. And the winner of that game will face the winner of the Jackson Jenkins game to be played in Savannah. And that's Jackson High School out of Jackson, Georgia, roughly halfway between Atlanta and Macon. And the number 3 seed will be the Monroe Tornadoes from right here in Albany, Georgia. And the Tornadoes will travel to Blackshear, Georgia to face the Pierce County Bears. And they'll face the winner of the Savannah Peach County game to be played in Fort Valley in Middle Georgia. And Monroe finished the regular season at 2 wins and 2 losses in Region 1 AAA action and 3-6 overall. And the Tornadoes the Tornadoes are jumping and the Tornadoes jump right into the playoff fray after missing out on the postseason the last several years. And they'll face a Pierce County team that finished in second place and finished in a 3-way tie for second place in GHSA Region 2 AAA at 3-2 in region games, 4-5 overall in Tatnall County. And in Tatnall County, Appleton County also finished 3-2 in region play. In Tatnall County, finished 4-5 overall. And Appleton County was 3-5 overall during the regular season. So if Monroe can knock off Pierce County and say Savannah pulls off the upset at Peach County, and Monroe could be at home for the second round of the state playoffs. But first things first, they have to go on the road and knock off Pierce County, which of course is no easy task. Going on the road and getting a big win and going on the road and leaving there with a victory, coming back home with a victory. So it'll be interesting to see what Monroe and head coach Charles Stewart comes up with in Pierce County this Friday. And the only other GHSA team from Albany that already is the advance to the playoffs is the Darty Trojans. And the Trojans will travel to Hinesville, Georgia to take on Liberty County, the Region 2 AAA champions. And the winner of the Darty Liberty County game will face the winner of the Windsor Forest of Savannah and Westside of Macon game. Windsor Forest against Westside of Macon. And Windsor Forest is the number 3 seed at Region 3 AAA. That's basically the Savannah region. Yeah, and focus consists mostly of teams from Savannah. And Windsor Forest will travel all the way to Macon to take on Westside of Macon. And the winner of that game will face either Doherty of Albany and Liberty County. And quick recap of Region 1 AAA teams: Appleton County at Crisp County, Tatnall County at Cook, Monroe of Albany at Pierce County, and Doherty at Liberty County. And then before moving on to the brackets, I do want to share a quick item of news involving the third team from the third school and third team within the Doherty County school system that did not make the playoffs. And WALB and the Albany Herald both report that Westover head coach that Octavia Jones has stepped down as the Westover head coach. And the resignation came just several days after Westover season ended with a loss to North Side of Columbus. And according to WALB, Jones is looking to make the move into an administrative role, and Jones coached the Patriots for the last 8 years. Had a career record of 41 wins against 43 losses, and Westover won its only, and he helped lead Westover to its only region championship ever, as the Patriots from Albany took the Region 1-4A title back in 2013. And obviously it was a rough season for Westover, going 4-6 overall, and also finished disappointing in 2-5 in Region GHSA Region 1-4A. So it seems like points have been hard to come by for Westover, and especially in the region games. And they managed to muster only 6 points in losses to Hardaway and Cairo. So it'll be interesting to see what direction Westover goes in as they seek to find a new head coach. And Jones Octavia Jones will still be the athletic director at Westover for the foreseeable future. And he's looking for more of an administrative role within the Doherty County school system. So again, Westover head coach Octavia Jones has resigned as the Patriots head coach after 8 seasons patrolling the sidelines, roaming the sidelines, and now return to more high school football playoff brackets on the High School Football RoundUp podcast. I'm your host Walter Johnson, and we're going to move on to Class AA. And the Thomasville Bulldogs, the number 1 seed, will face the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets out of Hazelhurst, Georgia, Southwest Georgia versus Southeast Georgia. And Thomasville finished the regular season undefeated at 10-0, and that's the first time in nearly 3 decades that a Thomasville team has finished the regular season undefeated, which is amazing for a program with such history like Thomasville, finishing the regular season undefeated at 10-0. And then the last time it happened, back in 1988, the Bulldogs would go on to win it all, win the Class AAA state title in 1988, 15-0 that season. So it'll be interesting to see if 2017 will bring similar memories for head coach Zach Grage and the Thomasville Bulldogs. And the winner of the Thomasville Jeff Davis game will face the winner of the Harlem Dublin game. Harlem, small town near Augusta, And their team will be traveling down to Dublin, Georgia to take on the Dublin Irish. And Jeff Davis finished in a three-way tie for the fourth and final playoff berth out of GHSA Region 2AA at 3-4 in league games. But Jeff Davis beat both Bacon County and Swainsboro. It's Bacon with a B, by the way, BACON. And Jeff Davis beat both Bacon County and Swainsboro to grab that number 4 spot in the trip to Thomasville this weekend. And again, the winner of the Jeff Davis Thomasville game will face the winner of the Harlem double game in the second round next week, which will be Friday, November 17th. And in the number 2 seed is the Brooks County Trojans out of Quitman, Georgia, sandwiched right in between Moultrie, Thomasville, and Valdosta. And Brooks County will play host to Vidalia, and the winner of the Vidalia Brooks County game will face the winner of the Butler Dodge County game. That's Butler out of Augusta and Dodge County out of Eastman, Georgia. And the number 3 seeded Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes under first-year head coach Tucker Pruitt. It just happens to be the son of head coach Robbie Pruitt and the Purple Hurricanes will travel to Lyons, Georgia to take on the Toombs County Bulldogs. So another team of Bulldogs in the Class AA playoffs in the GHSA. And the winner of the Fitzgerald Toombs County game will face the winner of the Washington County Scriven County game. That'll be played in Sylvania, Georgia, in East Central Georgia, on the South Carolina border, right in between Augusta and Savannah. So the Fitzgerald Toombs County winner will face the Washington County Scriven County winner. And finally, Berrien will be at home. Berrien will be on the road. Berrien of Nashville, Georgia, will be on the road against Benedictine from Savannah, Benedictine Cadets. And the winner of the Berrien Benedictine game will face the winner of the Southwest Macon Jefferson County game to be played in Louisville, Georgia. And quickly to review the Region 1AA teams in the state playoffs. Jeff Davis at Thomasville, Vidalia at Brooks County, Fitzgerald at Toombs County, and Berrien at Benedictine. And rounding out the GHSA the GHSA playoff version of the High School Football RoundUp podcast. And got the GHSA Class Single A public school teams. And starting with the GHSA Region 1 Single A champion Mitchell County Eagles from Camilla. And the Eagles are the number 4 seed and will host the winner of the Turner County Schley County game. And number 5 seed Clinch County, the Panthers from Homerville, Georgia, will face the winner of the Dooley County Tryon County game. Clinch County is the 5 seed. And the number 1 seed, overall seed, out of 24 teams is Manchester, and Manchester will host the winner of the Chattahoochee County Wilkes County game. And the number 8 seed will be Mount Zion of Carroll County out of Carrollton, Georgia. And Mount Zion's the number 8 seed, and Mount Zion will host the winner of the Telfair County, Marion County game to be played in Buena Vista, Georgia. And moving to the upper right-hand side of the bracket. And before I even do that, and the top 24 teams and in the final power rankings for the private as well as the public school subdivisions or subclassifications, if you will, Class Single A will advance to the state playoffs and move right along. And the third team from GHSA Region 1 Single A, the Pelham Hornets, and who finished second in Region 1 Single A after losing to their arch rivals from Mitchell County 22-0 last week, will be the number 10 seed and will host Towns County, the number 23 seed. And the winner of the Towns County Pelham game will face Macon County at Macon County in the second round. And Irwin County out of Ocilla, Georgia, and Region 2 Single A champion will await the winner of the Taylor County, Lincoln County contest. And finally, to round out Class Single A public schools, that playoff bracket, Montgomery County, the number 22 seed, will travel down to Folkestone, Georgia to take on Charlton County. And the winner of that game will face Commerce up in northeast Georgia, in north of Athens. And finally, another and the fourth team for Region 1 Single A and the third for Southwest Georgia will be the Miller County Pirates, and the Pirates will be the number 19 seed and will travel all the way east to Millen, Georgia. Millen spelled Millen. That's Millen, not Miller, as in Miller County. And Miller County, again, will travel to Millen, Georgia to take on Jenkins County. And the winner of that game will face number 3 seeded East ECI, which stands for Emmanuel County Institute. So, and a quick wrap up of the GISA playoffs. In class class AAA, and the Deerfield Windsor Knights from Albany were looking to advance to the state semifinals for the 11th straight season, but that quest came to an end last week up in Eatonton, Georgia, as the Knights fell to Gatewood 31-7, and the Knights finished the 2017 season at 7-5. And then so the Knights season ended in the quarterfinals in the state playoffs. And the last time a Deerfield Windsor team failed to at least reach the quarterfinal round in the state playoffs was in 2006, and they fell to Riverside Military Academy 35-7 in the first round back on November 17th, 2006. And that's according to the Georgia High School Football Historians Association. And for those people who want to know more about the Georgia High School Football Historians Association, you can visit their website online at GHSFHA.org. That's GHSFHA.org. GHSFHA.org. And that's the home of the Georgia High School Football Historians Association. And quickly to wrap up the GISA playoff portion of the High School Football Roundup podcast, the Southland Academy Golden Raiders season also ended in the quarterfinal round in Class AAA playoffs, and the Golden Raiders out of Americus and outlasted Trinity Christian out of Dublin, Georgia, on the road 35-24, but they couldn't pull out a win in their matchup against another team called Trinity Christian. This time it was Trinity Christian out of Sharpsburg, Georgia, and Trinity Christian of Sharpsburg advanced to the semifinals with a 35-0 shutout win over Southland. And Valwood is the only GISA Region 3 AAA team to advance. Valwood out of Valdosta rolled past John Millage 42-7 last week. And Valwood follow up their 49-7 rout of Edmund Burke with a 42-7 with this almost similar route of John Millage at home, and quickly in the GISA Class AA playoffs, and Region 3 AA champion Southwest Georgia Academy saw its season end in heartbreak as Brentwood out of Sandersville, Georgia, came down to Damascus, Georgia, and pulled off the upset 14-6 over SGA. And Southwest Georgia Academy season comes to an end at 7-2 overall. And Terrell Academy, the number 2 seed GISA Region 3 AA, had their first round game and advanced to the second round, the quarterfinal round, with a forfeit win over First Presbyterian Christian. But the Eagles season ended. Terrell Academy Eagles out of Dawson, and the Terrell Academy season ended with a 63-35 loss to Briarwood, and the Terrell Academy season ended at 6-6 overall. And on that note, that's going to end this edition of the High School Football Roundup podcast. And remember, you can follow the the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter at SWGA Network. That's the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter at SWGA Network. And this concludes the High School Football Roundup podcast for Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. This has been your host, Walter Johnson, saying good night, everybody.